Once upon a time, in a bustling town, there lived a merchant who earned his living by selling salt. He had a wife and 2 sons. The elder son was extremely shy, quiet, and withdrawn, while the younger son was outgoing, confident, and easily connected with others. Due to his timid nature, the elder son was often seen as foolish and weak. Many people took advantage of his gentle heart, but he never complained. His father was frequently disappointed and even angry about his eldest son's fearful demeanor. Constant scolding slowly eroded the boy's self-esteem. As he grew older, his lack of confidence severely affected his education. During exams, anxiety paralyzed him so much that he couldn't even write down the answers, no matter how hard he had studied. When he became a young man, his father asked him to help with the family business. Though afraid of making mistakes, he still accepted out of a desire not to let his father down. However, because of his nervousness, he often made errors at work. Each failure only deepened his father's anger and his own feelings of uselessness and loneliness. One day, while his father was away, some swindlers came to the shop. They pretended that his father had sent them to collect all the salt and transport it to the city. Being too shy and indecisive, the young man didn't dare question them. Before he could react, they had taken all the goods and disappeared. When the father returned and saw the empty store, he exploded in fury. "You fool! You let them steal everything. You've caused me a great loss. Get out of my sight and never come back." Those harsh words pierced the young man's heart. He felt crushed, humiliated, and completely worthless. When townspeople heard the story, they laughed and mocked him. Overwhelmed by shame and rejection, he sank into despair. Heartbroken, he wandered to the riverbank. Tears streamed down his face as he stared at the rushing water, thinking, "I'm useless. No matter how hard I try, I only bring trouble. What's the point of living?" Just as he was about to jump into the river and end it all, a young disciple passing by saw him and rushed to pull him back from the edge. That encounter would become the turning point that changed his life forever. After being saved, the desperate young man turned to the disciple, his voice filled with pain and anger. "Why did you save me? My life is meaningless. I can't do anything right." The disciple gently replied, "Life is given only once. As long as you're alive, you have a chance to rise above failure and discover success. But if you give up now, you'll never know what you're truly capable of." Hearing those sincere words, the young man broke down in tears. He confessed that he was shy, weak, unloved by his father, uneducated, and mocked by everyone. Through sobs, he asked, "Someone like me, do I even deserve to live?" The disciple smiled and said, "My teacher can answer that question. Come with me." At first, the young man refused, thinking there was no hope left, but after being persuaded, he reluctantly agreed to go. They arrived at a peaceful ashram where a great saint sat meditating under an ancient tree. As soon as he saw the saint, the young man burst into tears, knelt down, and cried, "You are my last hope. If you cannot help me, I will end my life." The saint calmly listened to his story from beginning to end. After a moment of silence, he said, "I have a solution for you. But first, you must do exactly as I instruct for the next 3 days. If you complete these tasks, your life will change forever." In his final moment of desperation, the young man agreed. The next day marked the beginning of his transformation. The saint gave him the first challenge. "Today, you must speak with 10 strangers. Ask them about their lives and write down what they say." The young man hesitated. Just the thought of talking to strangers made his heart race. But remembering his promise, he pushed through. All day he walked the town, approaching people one by one. Some ignored him, some were rude, but he didn't give up. By the end of the day, he had spoken to 10 people and even made a few new friends. Returning to the saint, he shared his small but hard-earned victory. "I did it." The saint smiled. "Very good. Tomorrow we move on to the second challenge." On the second morning, the saint said, "Today, you will teach 10 children about the importance of water." The young man panicked. "But I don't have proper education. How can I teach anyone?" The saint calmly replied, "They don't know that. Just share what you already know." Nervously entering the classroom, his hands were shaking, drenched in sweat. But he began to speak. About simple things: water for drinking, cooking, bathing, watering plants, and sustaining life. Though he quickly ran out the door after the lesson, he returned and confessed, "I was so scared, but I did it." The saint nodded with pride. "Do it once more." This time the young man spoke with more confidence. For the first time in his life, he realized he was no longer afraid. On the third day came the final and hardest challenge. The saint looked into his eyes and said, "Today you must go back to your father and ask for his forgiveness." The young man froze, pale with fear. "No, he'll never forgive me. I can't face him." The saint said firmly, "If you refuse, I will not give you the final answer. Be brave." After a long inner struggle, the young man returned to the home he had left in shame. Seeing his father, he bowed his head and stammered through tears. "Father, I'm sorry. I know I made a terrible mistake, but I'm trying to change. Please, give me another chance to prove my worth." His father looked at him for a long moment in silence. Then something shifted in his eyes. He saw a new spark in his son, no longer fear, but determination. With a sigh, he said, "You've grown. I forgive you. Let's start over, together." Overjoyed, the young man ran back to the saint and asked, "Master, please, now tell me, what is the secret to success?" The saint smiled. "You've already found it. Your greatest enemy was not your shyness, but your fear. When you act with confidence, the world will see you that way." Hearing this, the young man felt a deep awakening. Over the past few days, he had done things he never believed he could. He realized that it wasn't his timid nature that had held him back, but the fear within. And the moment he began to act, even if he was still unsure, people began to treat him differently because they saw confidence. The saint spoke softly. "True strength doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from facing your fears. When you believe in yourself, others will believe in you too. Don't wait for fear to disappear. Take action and courage will follow." The young man bowed, tears streaming down his face. "I understand now. I won't let fear control my life anymore." Years later, that once shy and broken boy had become a successful merchant, admired for his calm nature, confidence, and wisdom. This story reminds us, confidence is not something we're born with. It is something we build. The biggest limits in life exist only in our minds. When we step beyond fear, we discover a stronger version of ourselves waiting on the other side. Believe in yourself and start with one small step. That's where change begins.